Welcome to another exciting edition of American Warrior Radio, the place to be for notes, interviews, and current events for all issues military and veteran related. If you or someone you know has ever worn the uniform of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, or National Guard and Reserves, you've come to the right place. American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1060 WMEL, and online worldwide at 1060WMEL.com, sponsored by AVET Project. Folks, this program is all about supporting our troops and their families, both past and present. So please get comfortable, grab a nice beverage, and don't forget that pen and paper, because we're always efforting to bring you important information that you can use and share with others. With that said, let's roll down the runway and get this show off the ground. You all know me, I'm Garen Cohn. I'm an Air Force veteran, a retired legal advocate for veterans, and founder of AVET Project. But all you regular listeners of American Warrior Radio know that I never fly through the airwaves alone.
Good morning, I'm Glenn McGuffey, retired Air Force, and I'm the retired manager of the Brevard County Veteran Services team, where it was my honor to serve our veterans and their eligible family members in obtaining VA benefits due to the service of the veteran to our great nation. And I did that for a little over 22 years, and I retired a couple years ago, so I've been at this business for 24 plus years.
You can't get away.
Yeah, that's right. And if you want to contact me and talk about some claims issues for you or potentially an eligible family member, you can get a hold of me at Glenn, Glenn, at AVET Project, AVETProject.org. That's Glenn at AVETProject.org. Give me a brief outline of what's going on, and we'll go from there. And if we need to have a meeting, we'll do that at American Legion Post 200.
And we want to thank American Legion Post 200 for all their support to AVET Project's effort in getting information, and obviously it's part of our name, empowering. You know, AVET is an acronym for American Veterans Empowerment Team. Glenn hasn't had his coffee yet. He's coming around. We'll get him up online here in a minute. American Veterans Empowerment Team, and that's what our foundational reason for being is to empower our military and veteran community with information that they can use, that all you can use, and even share with others around the neighborhood. I don't care if you're in Wyoming, you're listening to us in Tennessee. If you have an issue that's specific to a VA benefit and you need some help, Glenn, Glenn, at AVETProject.org. He'll jump on it. We got a phenomenal show, Glenn. We always bring it every single Saturday from 11 to noon here on AM 1060. But today is an exceptional program. I just got to get some housework out of the way here. We've got a couple big announcements. You know, all you listeners and you followers on Facebook, and all of you should be following us on Facebook. American Warrior Radio has its own Facebook page. You can find that on 1060WMEL.com. Click on schedule, go down to Saturday, look for the show, and you'll see the website, the Facebook, and even a little info about American Warrior Radio. Well, the PR&R retreats are coming up. This is Project Recuperation and Reintegration. Glenn, you've been involved for a number of them now.
That's right, and I'm really looking forward to this one, and we're holding it out by the beach, rental housing from Patrick Air Force Base.
Exactly. We always need support, financial and volunteer, so please, if you got $1, $5.50, you know I don't ask you very often, and quite honestly, folks, you can do better than you've been doing. We need help. Help us help them, meaning our military family. The PR&R retreats are coming up this next weekend. I want to thank Giant Recreation World. They donated a fifth-wheel trailer for our staff to use. This is pretty impressive.
I was totally floored when you told me about it, and the cost was how much?
Free!
All right, free!
Okay, now I'm not saying they're going to do that for every nonprofit out there, but they have a special place in their heart for veterans, and I'll tell you why. But first, I want you to see them for all your RV needs. General Manager Patrick White and his staff are amazing, and Giant Recreation World is home of the lifetime warranty for your RV purchase through them. Well, Patrick's Internet Operations Manager, Ron Henry, is even a retired Army soldier.
Oh, cool.
So there's a connection right there. Great man. Really enjoyed talking with him. We want to thank them for the support and encourage all of you to visit them or visit them online at www.thegiant1, that's the number 1, thegiant1.com, or call 321-242-8261. That's 321-242-8261. Their Melbourne store is located at 5270 North US Highway 1, which is just south of the Pineda Causeway off Highway 1. You go there and talk to Patrick or see Ron and let them know that you heard about them on American Warrior Radio, and you thank them for supporting AVET Project as we conduct these PRNR, Project Recuperation Reintegration Retreats for these returning combat vets. Another quick announcement, and this is another fantastic supporter of AVET Project, aside from Kel-Tec, but at Frog Bones Family Shooting Center, they still have tickets available for AVET Project's drawing of a Kel-Tec PMR 30 22 mag pistol. These are hard to come by.
They're hard to come by, and they're 22 Magnum, which is even harder to come by.
Exactly.
And give them a brief description of this.
Well,
it's a beautiful gun.
It is. Kel-Tec is all American made. They warranty it for life. They employ 40% of their workforce as veterans. We want you to help us help them, meaning our troops, by stopping by and purchasing your tickets while you still can. 1 for $10, 3 for $20 gets you a chance at this incredibly popular and hard to find handgun. Again, that's a Kel-Tec PMR 30. GM Doug Torpy and his staff will help you with all your shooting sports needs. 404 South Harbor City Boulevard in Melbourne, just south of the Toyota dealership off Highway 1. Go there, please. Get your raffle tickets. Help us help them. We got to raise some money for these PRNR treats, as well as all the other programs and services that we do, because guess what? They're free.
It's free.
Okay, one last one. Tell them about the big National Veterans Reunion, Glenn.
Yep, it's time for the big National Veterans Reunion, sponsored by Vietnam veterans, Vietnam and all veterans of Brevard.
All veterans.
And it begins tomorrow with the escort of the Vietnam Traveling Wall, with a wreath-laying ceremony on Monday at 6 o'clock in the evening, 1800 for you military folks out there. The reunion runs from Thursday, April 21st, so that's this coming up week.
Yep.
April 21st through the 24th, live music, lots of displays and vendors. AVET Project will have a booth, of course.
Yeah.
And best of all, it's free.
Free. That's our favorite word here at American Warrior Radio, people. So we're bringing it again, but you know what? We got so much to get to today, and we've got a couple really special featured guests. Well, we haven't had a United States Coast Guard bosun call, so go ahead and cue that, Vince. That got my attention, everybody. It is none other than your commander, United States Coast Guard Station Port Canaveral, Latimericke. Commander Latimericke, how you doing today? Hey, I really appreciate you joining us, because it has been a little while. You're coming through loud and clear. We're all adjusting our volume down here. Tell us a little bit about what's going on at the Coast Guard Station Port Canaveral, sir. Yeah.
It's working out really well for them. But we have a bunch of new people coming in, so we're very busy with picking up our training pace here to try to get them up and running hard for the upcoming busy SAR season right now.
And SAR again, for those listeners that don't know, what is that?
Search and rescue. So we're going to be seeing a lot of boaters on the water. It's going to start with that. Usually the search and rescue cases will pick up pretty significantly during this time of the year with the warm weather.
And you have such a phenomenal crew out there, Commander. You sent a crew out to AVET Project's Kids on the Water at Wickham Park on April 2nd. They brought out I think it was one of your 29-footers.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Well, just stupendously awesome people that we have working at the Coast Guard. They were so good in answering questions and even helping the kids up into the boat. Everybody has a blast, and it's like a regular routine thing that you do at the Coast Guard, and we so appreciate that. But you've also had some other goings on. You had Sector Chief, I think he's an '06, come down and pay you a visit recently.
Yeah, that's correct. Captain Dixon, the sector commander up in Jacksonville, and he's also the captain of the port. He came down for a visit, had some meetings. He was able to address the crew along with the command master chief for the sector, Master Chief Daniels. And so he had some time to spend with our folks here and, address them, get some questions, let us know some of the things that's going on. So it was a good visit.
Well, I know that y'all have some activity, if you will, every time there's a launch out there. What kind of involvement did you have with this latest SpaceX launch and recovery?
Yeah, that's one of our missions here. So, search and rescue is always going to be the bread and butter, always going to be one of our main missions. But the mission that really takes up the majority of our time at the station is port waterways and coastal security. So, anytime that there's a launch, we send one of our 45-foot boats out there, out in over off the Cape, about 5 miles offshore, and we're just making sure that the area is clear of boats, so that in the event that something happens with one of the launches, that we're keeping the water safe out there. So it's one of the exciting missions that we do, along with obviously our submarine escorts. That's always keeping us real busy. Our area of responsibility goes all the way down from just north of Sebastian up to north of Titusville. But it's as busy as a port that we have here. I'd say about 90% of our time is kind of constrained to the area of the port with all the stuff going on. As you know, it's one of the busiest cruise ship ports in the world as well.
Exactly.
And it's growing every day. I know the business model there is to increase it a bunch, so you're going to be even busier. You mentioned something about clearing the zone for the launches, and that's important because last year, I believe it was last year, maybe a year and a half ago, SpaceX had that unfortunate explosion. Yeah, anomaly. That's the nice way. That's being polite. Anomaly.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's the reason that you're out there doing what you're doing, making sure that this specific area where debris or what have you could come down and injure somebody, you're clearing it out. And I know you have cooperation with the Air Force and some of the helicopters there, but you guys are out there all the time. Yeah, and you actually, and you have a man that's right there in the blockhouse as the launches are going on to coordinate everything.
That's right. On console, Chief Petty Officer Kathy Farr, she works alongside with the Air Force. So the people that are communicating with the helicopters, which they call the jollies, we're kind of working hand in hand so that our boat's able to get in some of the shallow waters and get some of the smaller crafts, but then we have the helicopters that kind of work in conjunction with us, so that if they have a contact that's about 20 miles offshore, so they can get there a lot quicker than our boats are fast, but nowhere near as fast as what the helicopters can go out and kind of reach some of them. But so it works out really well with us kind of both working hand in hand to help clear out the zone, because things get pretty touchy once it starts getting close to that time where the rocket's getting ready to launch. So we have to try to make sure that area is clear, free for right before it gets ready for it to lift off.
For sure. And I also want to mention that you celebrate some of your crew. You have a Sailor of the Quarter, or Coastie of the Quarter, and I just wanted to, tip of the hat to him, the most recent winner. I forget his name. Carlson,
right, correct.
yeah.
And I want to thank you also for helping us recognize them. So again, this is one of the things I like during this time of the year. In addition to the advancements and everything, we have our Sailor of the Quarter, and we're getting to recognize our stellar performers.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you got a lot of them. Commander. We're talking with Commander David Latimerek. He's the commander of the United States Coast Guard Station Port Canaveral. I know you got a lot on your plate, and I really appreciate you taking a moment today to pop in on American Warrior Radio and share a little bit. For somebody out there that wants to know a little bit more about the Coast Guard, or see maybe whatever they can learn, what's a good site for them to visit on the web?
One of the websites that I like is gocoastguard.com, because you can go on it and click on it for links to see the history about the Coast Guard. You can see it even has a link that says what happened each day throughout the year in the Coast Guard. It can give you all the information that you need to learn about it, and it's also as well for if you're interested in joining and you want to go. It's a great organization. When I originally joined, back in '91, I was only planning on staying in a couple of years,
Well, that's marvelous, and I know you guys do so many things that I think most of our audience, except for the long-term listeners, are not aware of, and how you protect us at home here, and what you do to further our nation's security and defense. And we want to really thank you for being on today, Commander, and we look forward to the next bosun's call.
Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate it. Again, I appreciate you guys for having me here. It's awesome to be a part of it.
Awesome, brother. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
I just want to remind everybody that's GoCoastGuard.com. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect name for a website. GoCoastGuard.com. They're phenomenal people. To the person, we have had so much assistance with projects that AVET Project puts on, programs, outreach throughout the community. And most recently, the Kids on the Water. They did a phenomenal job. I want to thank those. We did. We celebrated them. I got to tell you, we got a lot more here on American Warrior Radio, and we're looking at about 7 minutes to the first segment. I'd like to go ahead and introduce our next guest. This man, I can't say enough good things about him. You probably all know him, Judge John Murphy. He's otherwise known as the Green Beret Judge. Judge, you're in the studio with us today. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And you always got energy, and I love that because there's so much to talk to you about. But I just wanted to share with everybody that we've known Judge Murphy, John Murphy, for a long time now. Now he's in private practice, but for the sake of our audience, maybe those listeners outside of our geographical area here that are listening online, give us a little bit of your bio, born and raised and so on and so forth.
Well, I was born up in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, and my dad was an active duty Air Force guy, so I was a military brat, and we moved all over the United States, and including living in Japan for 3 years when I was 8, 9, and 10. And then I graduated high school in Seoul, Korea at Seoul American High School. So I am truly a national citizen.
Military brat to boot. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it.
So it was great moving around, and you learn how to make friends quickly, as many military brats do, because everyone's kind of thrown into the same boat.
And Commander Latimerich just mentioned that this is the PCS, Permanent Change of Station season. So when you're military, and this is what the general public may not understand, this is not a 9-to-5 job. Not for the service member, certainly not for their family. And you experienced it firsthand, other than your own personal military career, just growing up in that culture.
Absolutely. And there were times when I loved it. I actually think about it every 2 or 3 years, culling all your personal property because you can't transport it all. So you're constantly prioritizing what you're going to keep and not keep. Unlike now, I've been in Brevard 30 years and I have 30 years worth of T-shirts. You know what I mean?
We talked about that before the program.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a great experience, but I hated it because my first 3 years of high school I was in Concord, Massachusetts. And then out of the blue, my dad got orders for Korea. And it was an unaccompanied tour.
What does that mean for those listeners who don't know?
Unaccompanied means he would have to go by himself and the family stays stateside. But he decided on his own dime to bring us over there anyway. You can't do that anymore because of, they have to have a certain number of spaces in the high school, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, we lived at Yongsan, which is in Seoul, Korea, and he was about an hour down the road at Osan Air Force Base.
You're familiar with that, Glenn?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I have a similar history as to you, John. I spent time in Japan 3 years. I think I was 6, 7, and 8, or 7, 8, and 9. It was a long time ago.
A few years.
And other places throughout the United States.
Where in Japan were you?
At Azuki Air Force Base.
Ah, see, and my dad was at Fuchu, and we lived on a housing area called Kanamura. And I pulled it up on the web the other day, and while it's been turned back to the Japanese for 20 years, they haven't done anything with it, and there's vines growing over the buildings and stuff like that. But it was just eerie to be able to even see that.
Going back in time.
The web is so unbelievable.
Isn't it? But you made a comment there about that, and I just wanted to mention to everybody out there, this BRAC, Base Realignment and Closure program that the government instituted to try and save money, has caused a whole lot of grief in a whole lot of ways. And you, reflecting back on a place that you lived as a child, and also me flying through over to Hickam and seeing Barbers Point Naval Air Station. It looked like a Hollywood set when I was there in the early 80s. Well, my wife and I, Kim, our producer here, were there in the, early 2000s. And same thing had happened, Judge. It had just overgrown. The weeds were as tall as the buildings, vines. The stucco was cracking and all this stuff. And it's kind of sad to see that when the memory in my head was crystal that it was this awesome place. So,
Well, on the flip side, in BRAC, some great improvements that happened. We were in Korea in 74, 75, and in my own military duty, I returned for Ulithi Focus Lens, which happens in August every year, in 99 and 2000, 25 years later.
wow.
So I went through Tokyo and stayed at the Sano Hotel, which I remember as a child. And then I got over and stayed at Yongsan for a night, and then I went and I was stationed at Osan during that time. So I got to see the old stopping grounds. And Osan went from a Korea leftover war facility, tents, Quonset huts, to a beautiful college-type campus.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. First class mess halls. The operations center was hardened for good reasons.
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
problem up north there.
Oh yeah, they're not too far from the DMZ.
Yeah, well, that's phenomenal that you got that opportunity. We know where you're born and raised. Tell us about your college career. How did you end up? What did you want to seek? Because your father, retired military, what was his position?
He was a lawyer in the Air Force, and he retired as the chief trial attorney for the United States Air Force. He was the head of the government contracts team, which is located at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. His combined service was 32 years, of which the last 24 were active duty Air Force, and he retired as an 06 colonel, for you listeners out there that don't know 06.
Full bird.
Yeah.
That's what I had
Yeah.
to say with Commander Ladimeric, the sector chief. He's an 06, but they call him different things. He's a captain in the sea services.
Navy has different terms.
Exactly. 06, we all know that language. Anyway, folks, we are going to continue with John Murphy, former judge. He's an amazing man. He's got great stories to tell. But we're out of time on this segment of American Warrior Radio. So just on the other side of the break, we'll be back and just learn a little more about John and what he's doing now. I just want to remind everybody right now, like Glenn said, the VVB, Vietnam and All Veterans of Brevard, that means all veterans, and guess what? That means all the general public too are welcome to come to the Wall Escort tomorrow. All right, it starts at 10 a.m. over at the Clear Lake campus. Just show up, and then also you want to check out the reunion next Thursday through Sunday. American Warrior Radio is going to be right back here on the big AM 1060 WMEL after the break. Don't go anywhere.